everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Crystalis. In the last part we got here to this location getting the bottle of water in the process, and now we're teleporting back to Bryn Mawr, because the next stuff I want to do is actually in this region of the map. And before I say anything else, Majora's Mask 3DS! Yes! I've been waiting for that since Ocarina of Time got it, the 3DS remake, and it's finally happening. Though, mind you, it's not coming out till spring, but still. Also, Toy Story 4, what? Anyway, I'm selling my bronze shield because I'm not going to need it for much longer. I'm going to get a much more powerful shield in the next area. Mind you, you're not directed to go to this next area quite yet. I'm only going there so I can get not only a new shield and another item, but so I can put it on my teleport list. And now that we have the ball of water, like I showed at the end of the last part, we can freeze any rapid areas in the water like that. Well, I think the rapids, they wouldn't actually be rapids, would they? Because rapid, or flowing water can't be frozen. I suppose it's more shallows than anything. Anyway, welcome to the Amazonas village. Someone will mention that there's a village of Amazons not far, but this is where it is. And what I just got is the mirrored shield, which combined with the shield ring and itself, gives me 28 shield defense, which is really good. Now, this guard here will move in front of this house anytime you try to approach it. However, like the guard back in the Portoa castle, you can paralyze her. So make sure you do that, because we want something that's in there. Mind you, I don't think it's something you're supposed to know you can get for a while, but I'm getting it right now. Don't talk to the queen, and I think her subjects either. I'm not entirely sure about the subjects part, because if you do, you'll get kicked out of the house. Like so. Oh, and also, Xenoblade Chronicles X got more details, which I'm actually really excited to hear more of, because I really like the original Xenoblade, so it's always good to hear a good sequel being made. Anyway, back on track. Now we're actually heading back to that little underground cavern. However, you talk to the guard there, he'll actually say that you're allowed to go in there no matter what. Because pretty much this is our last time coming, well, second to last time coming in here. Because now we can freeze that water and find out that the castle connects to the fortune teller's office. I wonder what they're implying. And we can find the queen here, who is revealing her identity of being the fortune teller, which we all called. However, one thing I really like is that neither of those are her true identity, and she's Asina, one of the great three great wise men. You're a man? I don't judge, but damn, it's one attractive man. Anyway, she's gonna teach us the magic of recover, which is a spell that recovers you from status ailments. It's actually rather useful. I gotta admit though, I like that twist. Most RPGs give an identity, maybe one secret identity, nothing more, but she gets two. That's awesome. Now, there's one other thing you want to do while you're in here, and that's walk up here and give this dolphin here a medical herb. That's actually why I bought one back at Bryn Mawr, so I wouldn't have to waste one of the two I already have. Just press B in front of him, and you'll heal him. And he'll give us the shell flute, which is mandatory, so make sure you get that. And I just used that door there for a convenient transition point. Because the next location we're going to is yet again something you're not supposed to not even know about. Well, you can know about its existence, but you're not intended to go there yet. So I'm technically sequence breaking, even though I think I said earlier that there's not really any sequence breaks in this game. Well, either way, I'm doing it now. Because it's actually an easier area to go through than the previous area. Or the next intended area. Most enemies in here, if not all, are weak against the Sword of Fire, so get that out. And as you notice, the enemies in here give a good amount of experience points, about 100 per. It's this cave and the next cave that I actually recommend for level grinding at this point, because they give quite a bit of experience. Certain Metroid, certain mushroom enemies in the next cave especially give quite a bit. Also, you know one other thing that I really have gotten to complain about the Game Boy Color version for? It changed the music entirely, and I hate that. I don't mind the changes to the story. The screen crunching I could care less about, because the only real problem it gives is that you can be blindsided by enemies. But changing the music, no! Get rid of that. Or, no, bring back the good music. And actually, no, I don't care for the fact that they gave the enemies, elemental affinities. Oh, great paralysis. Yeah, the crabs here can paralyze you. What paralysis does in this game, let me restart my sentence here. What it does is that you can still move while you're paralyzed. What it does is you can't charge up your sword. You can't even hit level 1. It'll just pretty much stop right before where the level 1 is. So that's kind of annoying. In fact, it kind of makes the game impossible to progress through if you do it. And here's the mushroom enemies I was talking about. Killing them gives you 160 experience. No, not 160. I couldn't even see what that was. But either way, a good amount, so I recommend farming them. Anyway, I just got another level up. Level 9. Yeah, it's at this point, really, as I mentioned, that the experience really starts to skyrocket for every level. But at the same time, enemies give a lot more experience points, so I can understand it completely. Those little dragon guys there can poison you, so watch out for that. And like I mentioned earlier, well, first off, there's an antidote there. Max level in this game is actually 16, so I'm about halfway through my levels. I will admit, I do think I'm kind of over-leveled, if I recall correctly, because I'm usually around level 8 at this point, but 1 or 2 levels doesn't really hurt that much. Also, I've been playing a lot of Azure Striker Gunvolt recently. That's a really good game. Then again, when it's made by the same guys who made the Mega Man Zero series, what else should I expect? And I'm still waiting for Mighty Number 9, damn it. Patience is a virtue, Kyle. Yeah, nothing really much to talk about with this cave. Luckily, I think we're right at the very end of it. Yeah, we are, if I recall correctly. This is actually the last room. In fact, I won't say, the only time I find the weapon switching annoying is when I have to do it to destroy a wall. When it's for enemies, I don't mind it at all. It's like having to change which item you're using against a boss in Legend of Zelda. But for destroying walls, I find that annoying. Anyway, there's the Crystalis plant. That's the reason I came over here. It's a key item that you're not supposed to know is there until later. However, I'm getting it now, so I don't have to come here later. And with that, I'm actually going to teleport over to Oak, actually. Why? Well, as I show up with this transition, I bought 5 Fruit of Powers, which gives me a good amount of MP I can use to, good amount of items I can use to restore my MP. Because the Recover spell costs 20 MP to use, as does Teleport, obviously. And if I want to recover from a status ailment and still have a good amount of MP to either cast spells, level 3 charges, or recover with, I want to have those around. The magic rings I recommend saving until way later in the game when you have much more MP. So yeah, also I just got what is essentially the next objective right there. We're supposed to find that guy's fog lamp. You don't have to talk to them, I'm just showing that that's what you're supposed to do next. That's the Sword of Fire, Kyle. Yeah, I will say that the game does kind of railroad you in quite a few ways, but at least it does make where you're supposed to go next very obvious, because areas that we cannot reach before are now accessible due to the fact that we can freeze water. I don't mind railroading of that sort. It's when you can't make it past point A because you don't have item B to feed this one guy C to get into the location D that I hate it. That came out very awkwardly worded. Pretty much what I was explaining is the Grumble Grumble guy from Legend of Zelda 1. Ugh, I hate that moment. How am I supposed to know I'm supposed to have the meat? How? Anyway, this is the cave I was mentioning earlier that you need to go into at this point, and as you notice, the enemy variety is pretty much exactly the same. So I can't tell if they were intending you to go into that cave I went into previously around now, just via exploring, or if they wanted to have you would have a breather from the somewhat harder enemies coming up. I don't know what was in SNK's head. I will say, speaking of Zelda, the crabs here remind me of Zelda 1 and the Oracle games Goma. Oh, Goma, you were always pathetic. Especially in Ocarina of Time, which reminds me of Majora's Mask 3! Sorry, I'm probably going to be fanboying over that the next couple of videos, because, as I mentioned earlier, Majora's Mask is not only my favorite Zelda game, but it's also one of my favorite games of all time. Also, it's in this cave we get bats again. However, as you'll find out if they touch you, they can quite literally do nothing. Oh, and by the way, there's a Mimic right here. Use level 3 fire, as I stated before, and it'll go down very easily. The bats cannot hurt you at all at the level I'm at now. In fact, they shouldn't hurt you at all, no matter what. All they are there for is annoyance, because they will bounce you into other enemies. Which, with enemies that can poison you on contact, isn't fun! I will say this isn't the best place for grinding in the game, but if you want to do some minor level grinding around here, I wouldn't blame you. Just make sure you hold on to your MP, because first up there's another Mimic right here, who poisoned me! And for teleport, obviously, because it's around this point in the game that I think it's really not worth walking back through the caves in order to get some more experience points. It's at around this point that I just recommend using the teleport spell to teleport out of dungeons. You know, like, one thing that's kind of weird about the cave theme in this game to me is most dungeon cave themes that a lot of games have are really not really frightening, but kind of creepy and such, or in Final Fantasy IV's case, really just beautiful. But this one is oddly happy. Mind you, I can understand why they'd be kind of empty or creepy, because caves are generally dark areas that are very contained, so it could give kind of a creepy atmosphere, but in this game it just comes across as happy, happy, joy, joy. Only not being from that annoying show. I never liked Ren and Stimpy. I was Invader Zim, Courage the Cowardly Dog Kid. My brother was a Ren and Stimpy man. I gotta say, that's kind of a pointless little development idea right there, is to put two destructible walls right next to each other like that. That's, I have to question that. I should mention, I don't think that these crabs can paralyze you on touch. I think they have to shoot the little paralysis spell out of them to do so, and they can't even do that diagonally, so as long as you're not perpendicular to them, you should be good. Like so. I will say, item switching in this game can get kind of annoying when you're switching both the sword and the bracelet. Which, honestly, in this cave, I just recommend having the wind bracelet on at all times, unless you're fighting those mimics, just because it makes the game a bit easier in terms of having to navigate through menus. But, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You know, I've said that reference probably quite a few times throughout this throughout my entirety of Let's Plays, but I don't even know what the actual song is. Mind just not the first time that's happened. I will say the process of destroying different looking walls actually, I just realized, does remind me quite a bit of Zelda. Not Zelda 1, obviously, because a lot of the walls that you could destroy in Zelda 1 look exactly like the others. Thank you, A Link to the Past, for remedying that. Anyway, we're back here at the boathouse, so we can give the father his fog lamp that we just got in that cave there, which I forgot to comment on, so we can head on out to the sea. This is actually one of my favorite songs in the game. And in this house, we can find this man up here in the top left. This is Kensu, and if you use a telepathy spell, you'll learn that he's one of the 4 wise men. It's also here that we need to use our shell flute because the boat disappeared, and the dolphin is now our form of transportation. This is cool. Not many games you can say you rode a dolphin in. And here you can also find the island of Joel, this little town here. There's nothing really interesting to buy or do here except for getting information on your next objective. There will become more prevalent stuff here later, though. Pretty much, a girl was kidnapped for sacrifice and such, if I recall it correctly. I might be putting that in the wrong context, but still. Also, it's around this point, after talking to that man, that if you use telepathy and talk to Kensu, he'll say that he dropped something in the channel behind the palace. You know, where we gave the dolphin that medical herb, and got the recover spell and such. So let's head on over there. It's actually not that long of a trip at all. Also, we got mermen, which actually look more like Cthulhu to me. And, one of Japan's favorite creatures of all time. Actually, it does kind of remind me of a blooper. The Wind Waker bloopers especially. Or blooper. Actually, that's kind of what they were, weren't they? Yeah. Anyway, right there's the item that the Kensu dropped. Love Pendant. And right here's where we gave the dolphin the medical herb earlier in the part. But anyway, now it's time for us to head after the girl that was kidnapped for that evil island thing that the people in that town mentioned if you talk to them. I know I'm not really talking to many NPCs, but that's just because I want to get a move on. I'm not a big fan of talking to a lot of NPCs in villages unless I'm required to. Like in Star Tropics! Don't get me wrong, Star Tropics, the first one especially, are great games, but having to talk to everyone is just stupid. Anyways, in this cave, actually, first off, it's where progression is, but also has these jellyfish enemies who give 160 experience points per kill, and are honestly the best grinding location in this part of the game, so I recommend maybe grinding a level here or two. The jellyfish, I think can only attack by touching, but I think they can also poison you, so watch out for that. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 6, we'll see if we can find that girl here on the island. See you guys then.